let's start with the big news, and it comes from a player, Chris, that Jamal Adams, last time I was with you, we did the Ahmed 99 and the Madden 99, and the Chris Simms 99 was contemplating including Jamal Adams. Am I correct in that? You feel like he is at that point in his abilities in his career where he could command, big money and that 99 rating. Jamal Adams traded to the Seahawks, 2 number 1 picks. Your reaction for the first time here on Button to what we saw go down?
Yeah, I mean, a wow moment. A wow moment. I mean, first off, I'm thinking, whoa, Jets, way to go. 2 first-round picks, a 3rd rounder, got a safety that's a starting caliber safety. So you got that position filled. Wow, way to go, Jets. Joe Douglas continuing to be an awesome GM. But then I went to the Seahawks and I went, yeah, it's time. It's go time. Systems go. You're in the prime of Russell Wilson right now. And Jamal Adams, and listen, I know we were laughing before we started this podcast today because, I am a guy that, I say Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in football. I've probably said 6 other guys are the second best defensive player in football. And Jamal Adams is one of those. But my point is he's in that conversation. I'm not trying to say, definitively he's the second best player in all of football. But I'm just saying there's a handful of guys that we could put in that conversation. And if you said one of them, I'd go, yeah, I understand that. I think you're right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's there in that. So
I think that surprises, real quick on that. I think that surprises a lot of people. Not that, he highly drafted. I think, what was he, number 6 overall, 7
6th
overall
pick,
by the
right.
Jets, 6th pick overall. I think he has just a couple of interceptions, not that ball hawking type of safety, but they use him in a lot of different ways. I would have thought that no one would consider, maybe I'm wrong, but Jamal Adams, that name, you think Khalil Mack, you think Aaron Donald, your number 1 guy. Why is Jamal Adams in that conversation for you?
Right. Well, I think, you bring up the big thing is, first off, you're right. Most people are going to always put pass rushers, right, at that most important position. And that's certainly, there's a lot of them there.
Cornerback,
that are in that
even
conversation.
Too, ahead of safety.
Yeah, shut down corner, certainly in that. But, first off, safety in certain schemes is valued more than corner in certain schemes. And I would say in Seattle, they value safeties more than they value corners. And we'll get into that in a minute. But Jamal Adams said, listen, I'm not worried about the pass, don't always be a prisoner to the stats, as we always talk about. The big thing is he is the best in the box safety in football. And whether that's taking on pulling guards or just shooting through a hole and getting a tackle for a loss, because he can diagnose a play and see the hole as quickly as the running back does. And a lot of the times he gets there and makes the tackle before the running back even gets to the line of scrimmage. He's really special read and reaction wise. He's got a great brain to diagnose plays. Then he has great physical ability. And I mean great. He's 0 to 60 in 2 steps. He's one of the best blitzers in football. That's not a true pass rusher. When it comes for tackles for losses and shooting through your gap and doing that, he's up there as well. And then sideline to sideline, I mean, his speed is special. Now, one of the reasons he's not going to have always great pass defense numbers is, one, a lot of the times he's matched up against a tight end that there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks, unless it's like Travis Kelce or George Kittle, who are going to drop back and go, oh, I like this matchup, my tight end versus Jamal Adams. So that's going to limit the amount of throws and opportunities he gets to interceptions anyways. But because of that, he's 2-1, Ahmed. He's really almost 3-1. It's like he could be a free safety if you want him to. He's really a strong safety. So free safety, strong safety, linebacker. That's really what he is. He can do all 3 of those things and do them at
I think there's even been
times.
Level. There's been times where he's been listed as like a defensive lineman with where he's started the snap and lined up to begin to play.
I wouldn't be shocked, in a defense like Greg Williams where they move some people around every now and then. Yeah, you move him to defense end on a 3rd and 10. Sometimes he comes off the edge of blitzes. Sometimes you bring the blitz on the other side. Now he drops back into coverage and he's comfortable there. So, there's really nothing that he can't do on the football field. And then when you get into, okay, where Seattle's at as a team, I think Seattle has really done a great job the last 2 or 3 years rebuilding their team. And I say right now, the time is now. I'm not saying they're at that pinnacle yet, but I think they've gotten all the pieces that they're getting very close to getting there is what I'm saying. They're on their way. There's no more like, oh, we got to tear the team down still in certain positions to get back up here. No, I think they're all going there. Some guys are young, some guys are a little unproven and just need some reps and things like that. But that's why I think it's an awesome trade, let alone this is one of those defenses that this position is vital for its success. And, again, not that you need a superstar here, but you need a special talent. And Jamal Adams is going to be their new Cam Chancellor. I love Cam Chancellor, the man. But Jamal Adams is more physically gifted than Cam Chancellor, and he's going to be asked to do those same things, and that's where I get excited about it.
Physically gifted in what ways?
Oh, well, I mean, Jamal Adams, I would argue, is like his ability to accelerate, his ability to run people down with just pure physical speed and things like that. They're greater than Cam Chancellor's. They're both awesome hitters. They're both awesome open field tacklers. I think Jamal Adams has more in coverage because Jamal Adams runs 4.4. I mean, he just at 230 pounds. He's a special specimen,
Yeah.
Let alone he has a special Seattle type attitude. I've spent some time with Jamal. His dad also played with my dad on the Giants, and he's always ready to go. It doesn't matter if there's a game or not. He's ready to knock your head off. That's kind of the way he's wired. And I think that's going to fit really well with the personality of the Seattle Seahawks, too.
Pete's chimed in. He said, per PFF, Jamal Adams pass rushed on 90 snaps last season. Only safety with more was Chuck Clark from the Ravens. So he is doing everything. He's in coverage. He's rushing the passer. He's helping it on the run. What about the 2 first-round picks that Seattle gave up? I mean, the consensus out there is that they overpaid for a safety. Even if it is very important for the Seattle Seahawks and the scheme that they run, normally you might overpay for a Khalil Mack type, a rusher, or a lockdown corner. Not normally a safety. My idea and my perspective on this is, it's like a Lamborghini or a really expensive car. Is it really worth that money? Probably not. But if you don't pay it, you're not going to get it. And sometimes you just want the Lamborghini, no matter what it's going to cost. You feel like you're going to be better for it. And so Jamal Adams is like the Lamborghini. Did they overpay for it? Probably. But if you don't do it, you don't get it. And if you're going to win a Super Bowl, you might need it. So that's the way I look at it. What do you think?
I think that's a really great way to put it. You're right. And, they needed another difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen the last few years, their defense can't get any big stops and any big moments. They're not capable anymore. Somebody like Jamal Adams is going to give them more versatility within their scheme to be a little more daring and creative that way, let alone just him being out there and being a better football player is going to help them out a lot too. And so I'm with you. And, again, listen, it's expensive. Yes. The Seattle Seahawks, I'm willing to sit here and bet, though, that at no time over the next 2 or 3 years will they have a draft pick that is below 20. So the Jets are going to get something at the end of the first round. I would bet it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 32, both of these first-round picks. Seattle says, okay, so what? We got a lot of the pieces of our team in place already. We got good receivers. We got the quarterback. They finally turned around the O-line. They got stable of running backs. Defensive line got a lot of guys. They need maybe another difference maker, but they got some guys that I think they think are going to, show themselves this year or rise to the top as far as like their 2018 draft or 2019 first round pick in LJ Collier. They got Quandre Diggs at free safety. So they're looking at it like, okay, what do we give a shit about 2 first round picks a year from now and 2 years from now? And take this into account, Ahmed. I mean, this has been one of the masters of the mid rounds over the last decade. I mean, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Russell Wilson. Let's just go through the list. They're all middle round picks.
DK Metcalf, second round last year. They probably feel like they can find starters later. I was just going to say that too. Yeah, later in the draft.
No doubt. They're not like, oh gosh, first round, we got to get that one player that's going to change our team. No, they believe in building a team, and they know what they want, and they've been able to find value in every draft. I mean, Bobby Wagner's a second-round pick. KJ Wright's a fourth-round pick or something around there. I mean, it's unbelievable. So they have the ultimate confidence, too, that, okay, we missed that. We don't have 2 first-round picks. Whoopie-doo. that money now we can give it to Jamal Adams, right? Because that's the other thing people forget about. It's 2 first-round picks they don't have to pay. Then now they can give the money to Jamal Adams and maybe some other players too, or wherever that goes. So I really liked it from Seattle's standpoint. I did. And like I said, I just think the time is now for Seattle. And they're really close to being one of the best teams in football. And this course brings them even closer.
We'll get more on exactly how he fits in the Seattle scheme, because you talked about it with Kyle again, and you've talked about it on this podcast before. And I think it's really interesting, your thoughts on that scheme. But I want to get the Jets angle first real quick, because the consensus there is, if Seattle overpaid, then it's obviously good for the Jets. They get 2 first-round picks, even if they're in the the low 20s or wherever they're going to be over the next 2 years. You got to take 2 first-rounders. I think ultimately, if you're the Jets, though, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you just don't want to lose guys like Jamal Adams, and you don't want to have a great player clash with your head coach. That's just not something you want. It's not a generally good team building to have your best players clash with your head coach and 1 out.
No, definitely not. And again, I think a little bit of that has been blown out of proportion too. Like, I know Jamal Adams took a few shots at Adam Gase at the end of last week. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, let's not all jump on it and be like, oh, Jamal Adams, word of law, what he said must be real. Come on. He's been doing this for 3 weeks. He was making fun of the owner. I mean, he was getting on him last week. So he was doing anything he could to get out of town. So now let's not take everything he said as like literal, oh, he knows everything about the Jets and he's spot on. No, he was mad they didn't pay him. They didn't want to pay him yet, whatever that may be. So he started to throw some crap onto the pile to make sure he got out of there a little quicker than he did. Again, from the Jets standpoint, and I think with Jamal Adams, the marriage was over. And I think it's great that they were still able to get these type of assets when everybody knew that this was going to be ugly if it got into training camp, or Jamal Adams certainly didn't want to be there in New York. So I give Joe Douglas a lot of credit for still making this deal happen, even though he was a little bit, behind the 8 ball here with some of the circumstances and the fact that, Jamal Adams had made it so publicly known that he didn't want to be there anymore.
You defend Adam Gase more than most, I feel like. Why do you feel like you do that? Because it's not like this is necessarily isolated. It's not a trend. You're right. It's not a trend. Right. And Jamal Adams may have been disgruntled with the whole organization, GM, ownership, head coach. But there have been incidents in the past, specifically his press conference with the Jets, which was odd.
Not a good look. I'm not going to lie either. I mean,
but why do you find yourself defending him more than most, you think?
Well, I think, first off, listen, am I biased a little? Yeah, sure, I am. I know him. I know the makeup of the man. I was with him in Denver. He was a wide receiver coach when I was playing the Denver Broncos. And, of course, I followed his career very closely. He's 100% invested into the sport. I know that. But I think down in Miami, again, it's I'm going to use some of the Ryan Tannehill, bullets that I got there. Well, he went to the playoffs with that team. Who the hell was there that you can keep people? If we had people here on the spot right now to go, who was on that team in the Miami Dolphins? People, they wouldn't be able to spit out some of the guys on the team if I asked them. So it wasn't like he had this all-star cast down in Miami. No, he was the coach. He wasn't the GM. He didn't always have full say. So he had some crap around him. The team wasn't smartly built. And yet he kind of kept them competitive every year. Now, he gets to the New York Jets, and everybody just sees new head coach, and they think he should turn it around. Turn around what? Who the is on the Jets that's going to turn around anything from last year? Like, what about that team said, oh, whoa, they're going to go into the playoffs? I thought they could be a pain in the ass, certainly, and tough, but injuries, Sam Darnold getting, mono, and a bunch of other stuff that went down, I just don't know what people realistically think. So I think he's a little easy to pile on because of the press conference and things like that. But what I'm saying is I think the results on the field are a little bit better than what everybody wants to give him credit for, just because he's not always winning, at the podium in the post-game press conference.
Do you make anything of Le'Veon Bell kind of sniping at it? I think it was a subtweet. I don't think he referenced
Yeah.
Jamal Adams by name, but he was surly that he wanted out so badly. I think he was a big part, or at least a part of the recruitment of Le'Veon Bell to New York, and now he bolts, and Le'Veon's still stuck there. You make anything
Yeah.
of that?
Well, a little. I mean, I'm sure Le'Veon's a little pissed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Jets players are pissed. One, Jamal Adams was the best player on the team. He's not there anymore, so that stinks. Le'Veon Bell, yeah, from everything we kind of know, it sounds like Jamal Adams was a big part in recruiting him to get there and selling him on the culture of the Jets. So he's like, what the hell? Now you're the one that wants out of here? You're the one that told me to come here.
And Jamal Adams is not too keen on the culture right now, leaving town.
Right. And now they're all left to answer the questions, Ahmed. I mean, I saw an interview with Frank Gore this weekend. Now he's having to talk about Jamal Adams' comments and everything like that. So they're all looking at it like, damn, you put us in a tough spot now to where we got to answer questions about the owner and the head coach. And let me just tell you, like, when nobody talks about the owner, nobody. Yeah. Like, you want to talk about unwritten rules in an NFL locker room, man, everybody's scared of the owner. Nobody messes with the boss man, okay?
Yeah.
So you better be a star and know you got some other avenue out of town if you're going to start bagging on the owner like he did last week. So I think that's worth. Now, last thing with the Jets, too, I think we got to hit on. Hey, if Mike McCagnon was the GM, I'd go, well, who the knows what happens with these draft picks? Who the hell knows? He could draft two guys that might never play and ever again. Like Hackenberg, who he drafted in the second round from Penn State. I could throw better with my other arm than he could, but he drafted him in the second round. Joe Douglas, you give him 2 first-round picks? Right now, everything I know about the guy from other people and what I've seen just from the evidence of this offseason, I go,
yeah,
he might be able to do something with this and get them started. The Jets, they're still not there. Adam Gase was left a pile of shit. So now they're trying to rebuild their football team. Let's see where it goes. It was a good first step this offseason. Let's see if they can capitalize in the future on these Jamal Adams picks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.